Good morning, everybody. My name is Dr. Patrick Flynn, and welcome to this morning's A Different Perspective. I am so excited you guys are always with me on Saturday morning. And before we get started, I want to thank Dr. Bryce for doing a wonderful show last week as I was traveling. Yes, I know it's really funny. I actually now have cut back on my speaking, and I said, listen, I had to take some time as we have some amazing things happening here at headquarters and all the offices across the world. But I've been traveling almost every week since. I actually will be in Vegas in the upcoming week here on Thursday, as it's my oldest daughter, Faith. It's her 21st birthday, so we are going to Vegas to play some golf and have some good time for her 21st birthday. And her birthday's on the 16th, so everybody say happy birthday to Faith next week on the 16th of July. But I've been traveling, and I went and spent some wonderful time out in Montana and some different places, and Michigan and some other places. So it's so great to be back for you, and thank you, Dr. Bryce, for doing such a wonderful job as you started and kicked off our July, which you guys know, as you can see, it's our protein challenge month. So as you know, we have had more things and challenges added to our repertoire over this year. We did no sugar in January. Next year, we start with the April detox one. Then we have July protein challenge and October sleep challenge, as you can see from the page. Obviously, this picture was taken a while ago. A lot of thousands of people have added onto the page. All wonderful things that we are doing on a regular basis. And if you guys are not on the page, just understand, you can actually go there. It's all free. We have a ton of things up there for you for information of what proteins to eat, both animal-based and plant-based, and some things to follow. So I've got some amazing feedback on the stuff that has been going on, and I received an email, and I just wanted to share it with you because I do really appreciate your feedback. I love, no matter if it's criticism or if it's positive, I always love feedback, because if you've been in business as long as I have and own as many businesses as I do, feedback is a great thing, because even the best business people in the world need feedback, because you don't do everything right. You're saying you try to, but getting people's feedback is actually important. So here was an email that I received, and I just want to read it to you. And of course, as you can see, I always try to block out names so nobody knows who sent it to me unless I make it public. But here we go. Dr. Flynn, I just wanted to send a message of gratitude because my friend convinced me to do the protein challenge with her. And I did not know who you were, but she is very health conscious, and I trust her, so I started it. I can tell you I have lost 6 pounds already, and I feel great. My skin condition has changed. My hair, I figure hair, is thicker, and my butt looks better. Quote, I watched your cellulite show. Okay. I am not hungry at all and find myself making myself eat, but I feel stronger. Thank you for putting all this free information out there. I cannot thank you enough. A new big fan, Megan. Megan, thank you so much for that email. That meant a lot. And I love this. We have so much free information for you. These shows are free. And a lot of people say, hey, Doc, why don't you do like an interview style with certain people? Because I'm just not a person that likes to interview. I'm more of a teacher. So I like to teach a topic every Saturday that relates to the things that people are going through. Like today's topic is going to be added onto the process because it's coming up like crazy. We had a video go viral. I think it has 100 million views already and things like that. So we're going to cover that. But I like to put out just a ton of free information to make your life better so that you can do what? You can take control of your own health, start doing these things. So it's purely informational. It's for you guys to actually make some changes. But these were things that I applied clinically and still do today. Now, I'm going to make it very clear, I don't see that many patients. I only see some people that I've taken care of for many, many, many years. I've been taking a new patient in God knows how long, in a long, long time, many, many years. But I still see some wonderful people on a regular basis due to the fact that they've been patients of mine forever. And it's great applying these things on a regular basis. So what I want you guys to understand is this, is all this information is for you guys to actually take it, apply it, research it. And I tell people, go back, watch these things, research everything I tell you, look at the research articles I put up there. I try to document everything that we do and have research back and everything. And it's wonderful things that actually make your life better. And once again, it's free. You understand? Now, once again, we have our subscription page, which we always talk about at the end. But the idea is this, is we have so much wonderful information that you can do to take control of your health. So go to the website and see that. But that being said, once again, in September, we have our tickets that will be going on sale for next year's seminar. As you know, we do our Leadership and Longevity Conference, and I will tell you there's some cool things happening. But we have Leadership and Longevity Conference May 2nd and 3rd next year. Already have 2 speakers that are going to be committed to coming that way. So very excited for that. You can get your tickets starting in September. I'm going to keep it very cost effective, and then the cost will go up on January and February and March as the time goes on. It's why I am recently changing some of my videos, because I know a lot of people watch a lot of our reels because they're on every platform. But I'm going to start putting some leadership stuff out there. A lot of people do not know this. I'm very proud of this, but I've done really well in business in my career. I own over 50 businesses plus, and actually more than that, but the idea is this. And what we do is, and that comes from great leadership principles, and we've been very successful. And I'm going to start sharing some of that insight on some of my reels. So you're going to get longevity reels, and you're going to get some leadership reels. So that's kind of exciting that I'm going to start putting out. We just met with our media team and things. We're going to start shooting some of those things. So once again, it relates to our Leadership and Longevity seminar, because we always have new and great stuff coming out. Now, speaking of the great stuff coming out, our pre-sales have been huge on our new From Scratch brand cookbook, Restoring Health and Whole Foods the Wellness Way. For example, if you want to do a pre-order, which have been massive, the book comes out August 17th. So basically 1 month from now, we're going to be having a major studio party here for the book launch, and Dr. Alex and Christy will be signing books, and they're going to be doing a presentation for it that way, just like I did for my other book, I Still Disagree, which has sold so many copies across the world. So get your pre-orders, come see it, all the good things that happen, and it's kind of great. Watch for it. We're going to start having the sign up for so people can be in studio, just like we did when I had my I Still Disagree event. We're going to have a wonderful party on August 17th here. I invite you, if you're local, please come in and check it out. So, but as you guys know, as we give wonderful free things away from you, we have new stuff coming out, we have new reels coming out, we always do our wonderful giveaways. We give over $1,000 of product every single weekend. So, as you guys know, I got to introduce, and most of you guys know these wonderful people, Dr. Bryce, Dr. Lucas, and Aaron Walton. Welcome this morning, and what do we have for everybody today?
Awesome. Yes, good morning, everybody. Thank you all so much for hopping on. Thank you guys. There's so many people of you guys already sharing and kind of interacting. Very excited for all of the different things that we have coming up. So we just always want to say thank you. We really appreciate that. And as always, we do have quite a bit of stuff to give away this morning. So if you want to win some of our mystery supplement that Dr. Lucas will be introducing, please just interact with us, right? Like, share, do all the things, talk with us, ask us all your questions, and we will get back to you. Dr. Lucas, what are we giving away today?
Well, the somewhat mysterious, now definitely not mysterious supplement is female glandular. We know that not everyone can get all the organ meat they need. Ladies, this is a fantastic way to help supplement what you might not get through your diet. But I'm going to be hanging out on Instagram, and like Dr. Bryce said, engage with us. That is one of the best ways to see something like this end up in your mailbox.
Yes.
But that needs to go somewhere specific, I believe.
Yeah, so I don't know how much you guys love female glandular, but I'm a fan.
I like the male, typically.
All right, fine. So, but yeah, if you are announced as a winner, be sure to email us at giveaways@thewellnessway.com, giveaways@thewellnessway.com, and Allie will be sure to get that out to you. We have another winner to announce right away.
Yes.
I am so excited for this. Y'all, our academy is absolutely amazing. So much training. It's absolutely mind-blowing. So our wonderful instructors do a great job breaking it down. So we have a winner today. Her name is Mandy Hanner. Mandy has a heart and is a natural caretaker. Her story is pretty inspiring, and just absolutely loves the chiropractic philosophy, and there's someone special she'd like to honor through that. So Mandy, congratulations. If you are interested in learning about our tuition rewards from the Academy, please email us a couple of sentences. Tell us your story. Tell us why this would make a big impact in your life. We all know it would, right?
Yeah.
So go ahead and email us at academy@thewellnessway.com for more information, to share a little bit about your story, and help get your name into that drawing opportunity for tuition rewards. So thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you guys. As I said, now remember, like, share, comment, interact with these guys. That's how you win the free prize. There's no catch to it. And thank you for all you guys that get your product that you won for free and tagging me and posting me or posting a little video that gets you a chance to win more. No joke, if you post a video, you get a chance to win more, because I tell these guys, hey, listen, this person posted a little video, posted a picture of it that way, because once again, we give away all for free. There's no catch, there's no nothing. We pay for shipping, we do everything that way. You know, I always love when they say, here, you get a free gift, but pay for your shipping. No, we do it all. We do it all for you that way. We're trying to just be a blessing to people that interact with us and part of our community that way and stuff. And part of our community also means our wonderful newsletter that I read every single Saturday morning as I'm sitting here sipping my coffee. So remember, scroll all the way down to the bottom of the website. Remember, thewellnessway.com. Just put your email address in. You get wonderful articles. And if you are part of subscription, you get your own newsletter besides the one that comes out free every single week. But like I always told you guys, the most important part of our website is when you go to the top right and click and see all those clinics, as we do have more clinics all over the country every single month. It's very exciting seeing that happen. Like I said, this is an old video. We should, one at a time, we're going to update it and show you all the offices across. But you can jump on the website, thewellnessway.com, click on it, and see all the wonderful offices that we do have out there. It's so exciting, expanding across the world and having wonderful offices and people doing wonderful care. And once again, and offering people the opportunity to take control of their health and do things in the direction that they want to do, okay? And that being said, the Protein Month Challenge has been incredible. Thank you for all the Facebook posts, because you have the page on there. Thank you for all the emails. Thank you for all the comments. Thank you for all the updates. Thank you for all you people that even had some negative symptoms that way. You know, we talk about, you know, Dr. Bryce did a show last week. When you start increasing kind of protein, you might have some digestive things going on that way. And it helps figure out some things that are going on with you. And the one thing that I didn't realize until our wonderful team talked about this week, our Google searches and things that have just been massive. We are ranking really high on Google when it comes to our protein calculator. So as you can see, you can go to our website, jump on the protein calculator. You can roughly put in some parameters about you, and it's based on all the research on activity from low, medium, and high, and the amount of grams that you want to see you do it per day. But we're going to help you guys build a plate, and that's really important. The whole concept of the protein challenge is to teach you stuff that you can do on a regular basis by yourself. Once again, start with some protein. Now, once again, if you are plant-based protein, I'm more of a meat-based protein person, but you can put a plant-based protein there. Now, as you guys know, I love my cruciferous. That's why you see Brussels sprouts and cauliflower. But then also I love my more high-intense fiber. So you see my wonderful salad over there, arugula, which is also a form of cruciferous, but I love the fiber that comes from that. You see the avocado on there, and you can see some chia seeds on there, because I love the fiber that comes from chia and everything. And then, once again, don't forget those wonderful berries. I love my fruits. This is kind of basically a plate of the Flynn household on the things that we do, and these are the things that we can help teach you so you have a really good, decent lifestyle, and things that, once again, a cost-effective thing, and see the changes. I'm so excited to see people losing weight, people feeling stronger, seeing skin, hair, nails, and everything getting better from having the protein. It's been wonderful. I love that people are doing lifestyle things that really get them in a position of good health. You know, yes, I'm going to go over some things in detail when it comes to our topic today of some herbals and stuff like that. Today's going to be more of a remedy show than anything else, just because of the clinical things that come from this. But when lifestyle things are so key, it sets you up to sometimes not needing some of those things. Lifestyle is key, guys. That's one thing why I try to teach you guys every Saturday morning some things. Instead of all the natural remedies, what lifestyle things can you do? And natural remedies are very decent. They have some very powerful aspects about that way. But lifestyle is still the key to everything. You can't, out-herb a bad diet. You can't out-herb non-exercise. You can't out-herb bad mental stress. All those things are under your control. And that being said, let's get into our perspective today with our topic. And wonderful topic today that relates to so many people, our conversation from your input and things that you have been suffering with and not getting answers with. Today our topic is urinary tract infections. Wow, it's a topic that I didn't realize when I put just a short video out about it, that it got hundreds of millions of views. I was like, wow. And you're wrong. It's very common to deal with this in practice, but I didn't realize that people want to see videos about this, and then my messages blew up like crazy, so we decided to do a whole show based on this, and we're going to cover things in great detail. But what we're going to talk about today is the best remedies for UTIs, urinary tract infections. So we're going to talk about the best remedies that you can do from a scientific backed perspective that your doctor is not going to teach you about. Obviously, we understand that antibiotic treatment has an effect on it, and sometimes it's needed. And that's one thing. Remember this. And just even think about like politics. You know, you have the left and the right, you know what I'm saying? And you have extremes on both sides. I always tell people, if you ever look at how I stand, I'm more of a middle person. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter, like I talked about carnivore or being a vegan. I'm in the middle. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing you're going to find out, that when people do this, they're like, oh, I got an infection, you got an antibiotic. It's like, well, it depends. It depends on the severity. It depends on how far it's been. I've seen people need antibiotics. I've seen people not need antibiotics, okay? And so what I'm going to do is just go through the remedies and the research backing on this. But when I start to look at the statistics, it kind of blew me away about how many people actually get this. And I can tell you, I've dealt with thousands of infections this way, but I want just from some clinical experience. But when I looked at the stats, it kind of blew me away because I was so surprised that urinary tract infections are very common. A 2022 analysis found that more than 400 million people worldwide had UTIs just in 2019. 400 million. So if there's 8 billion people in the world, that means what? 1/16 of the population had a UTI in 2019. That is a staggering statistic because that is just incredible that people have this many infections, that they're that common. And so I was like, and I knew because dealing with female issues when I was in practice, it came up a lot. I just realized it was kind of a worldwide problem the way it was because I just dealt with it because one of the things. And during ladies, I saw on the post on Facebook, people are asking about, once again, estrogens, menopause, cyclic. Is there different things that come about when you get UTIs? Yes, there is. So we're going to get into it in great detail today, and we're going to talk about a lot of things, and we're going to relate to some of the things that go through. And once again, some things can be age-related based on menopause or if you're in your cyclic years, but we're going to go through those things and show you the commonalities of why that does happen. So therefore, you can take the steps to not only become preventative, but if you do end up with an early infection, there's things that you can do for remedies to help the situation that you're in. So if we take a look at the symptoms, take a look at symptoms because they can be very devastating. You have an increased frequency of urination, burning during urination. You feel a feeling of incomplete bladder emptying. You could have actually an empty bladder and still feels like it's not empty. Abdominal or pelvic pain, lower back pain like around the kidney area, blood in the urine, bad odor to your urine, and also cloudy urine. So there's so many things that do come up with the symptomatology, and they're very devastating. It's kind of like having a kidney stone. They're just intense things that can happen that really can throw a whole, your daily activities off and your life. And so what happens, it's very important to get these under control or even be very preventive with them. Now, the one thing I think that's very important to understand, it can be diagnosed by some criteria. The most common is a urinalysis. They'll look for high nitrates, high leukocytes, which is kind of a white blood cell. But they can also do, if they're constantly reoccurring, they also can do a scope of the bladder or a PCR test. These things are very accurate when it comes down to this. Now, once again, the most common thing, and most people don't go beyond that unless it gets really bad, there's some ladies that get it so often, they end up doing a scope of the bladder and seeing things. And there's the biggest thing that's going to be missed in medicine when it comes to this, and I'm going to explain in great detail, and why, once again, antibiotics can be an effective treatment, but it always seems like that's reoccurring. And I'm going to show you why that does happen and why they're never going to be able to get to the bottom of it that way because of the things what antibiotics does through the process. And on top of it, taking an antibiotic reoccurringly for a UTI, the bacteria becomes antibiotic resistant, okay? And if we take a look at more of a detail of UTIs, here it is. UTIs happen when bacteria from your skin or rectum enter the urethra. You can get an infection along any part of the urinary tract, but bladder infections are the most common, and I will explain why. And the bladder infection of a UTI is the most difficult and the one that reoccurs the most, all right? And we look at the culprits to it. There's several bacteria that do it, but what happens is this. 90% of the time, the bacteria is E. coli. And it's 5 times more common in women, and we're going to show you why, because there is an estrogen component for all of you women, especially in menopause. saying, Doc, I didn't seem to get UTIs. There was a comment on the Facebook post about this until I was in menopause. There is a reason why. I'm going to share that with you guys, okay? And it's really well backed in all the research that way. But let's take a look at just when it comes to just the urinary tract system this way, because let's take a look. Okay, if you notice, we have both a male and female. Once again, the infection can happen within the kidneys, which is in the ureters. It can be in the bladder, which is the most common. It can also be in the urethra. Okay, those are very common areas. Now, once again, if the prostate has a problem, it can damage the urethra, and that can lead to some more UTIs. But the most common area is in the bladder in both men and women. Now, obviously, women deal with this the most because of what does happen. Now, people say, well, Doc, you know, the anus is very close to the vaginal opening and has more chance of exchanging bacteria compared to the genitalia of a man. Yes, that is a culprit there. Okay, so if you understand, it can happen in the kidneys. That's why you can get lower back pain from it. It can happen in the ureters going down from the kidneys into the bladder. It can happen in the urethra going from the bladder out to the genitalia to release the urine. But the most common area in the reoccurring infections is in the bladder. Now, why? Again, that's the thing. Why? Why would the bladder be there? Why would, you know, because we get an antibiotic, it seems to kill off the kidneys and the ureters and the urethra pretty easily, because here's what happens. It's kind of neat. It's kind of like, you can kind of relate it to an H. pylori infection. What was the culprit? Well, if we look here, here's what happens. What makes them so difficult to deal with and why they reoccur is the bacteria creates a big old biofilm, okay? And I say, well, Doc, what's a biofilm? I want you to imagine that you walked outside and there was rain, okay? And the rain would, let's say, would be like an antibiotic. Well, if you kind of think of it this way, the bacteria produce a biofilm that creates kind of an umbrella that shields them from the antibiotics, okay? Now, here's what does happen. It even shields a little bit from the immune system. When they're shielded, some bacteria are killed off, but some bacteria are not. And they get used to the antibiotic and they become antibiotic resistant. And that's why I've had thousands of women come in and say, I've been on antibiotics for years. I seem to take antibiotics multiple times for years for this. Yes, because without destroying the biofilm, the bacteria is protected, and even a good antibiotic that could really kill off all the bacteria and get rid of the infection completely does not. So therefore, the bacteria then overgrows again, and then we end up in a new reoccurring UTI. And it's very frustrating for women. Very frustrating. And the doctor's like, well, just another antibiotic, and antibiotic, and antibiotic. And I'm not saying they don't need the antibiotic. So I'm making it very clear. I'm not saying the doctor's advice is wrong. I'm saying the reason why you're consistently getting it because you have not destroyed the biofilm that actually protects the bacteria from being killed off by an antibiotic or even by its immune response. Because if a person is immunocompromised, they can get an infection quite easily. And if you notice, E. coli is a normal flora. See, that's the thing. A lot of people don't know this, and that's why I believe stool testing is so important for most people, is a vast majority of infections come from bacteria in the wrong area in the wrong amount. For example, SIBO is something people talk about all the time, but people act like SIBO is something they got from, you know, Africa or Mexico by drinking the water. No, SIBO is just small intestinal bacterial overgrowth where the bacteria that are supposed to be somewhere else are in an area it's not supposed to be, and it's overgrown in that area. That, if you think about this, guys, it's kind of cool. We have bacteria that belong in different organ systems, and if it goes to another organ system at a different level, it could be an infection. That's why most people are really infected by themselves, and that's why being immunocompromised is so detrimental, because it leads to infections in other parts of the body, even by your own body, okay? So therefore, what we need to do is this. We need to look at the remedies, because this is the cool thing. Backed massively by research, the wonderful things that we can take from a remedy standpoint that can help eliminate the biofilm, that now even if you did do an antibiotic treatment, that would be more effective of killing off that bacteria and reducing it and getting under control to where your immune system can now take control of it and not having all these recurring infections, or even if you do have an infection for the first time. So therefore, what can be done to affect the biofilm to make it more effective at not only reducing the overload of E. coli or even other bacteria that can lead to the UTIs is, number one, the most effective, and once again, this remedy is even more effective. It's known as antimicrobial and antiviral It actually does a wonderful job of actually, even with candida and other bacteria, it's one of my favorite remedies when it does come to infection, and that's oregano oil. Oregano oil. It has great properties and great constituents that lead to this. Now, if you look, once again, it relieves respiratory, inflammation, other infections. It's known as the most broad spectrum antimicrobial activity of any natural thing on the planet. It promotes intestinal flora balance because it keeps other microbes under control that could actually overgrow. It prevents viral infections. Something as simple as oregano oil does all these things. Now, what is the constituent? See, and this is one I created. Now, guys, I'm very proud of this. I handcrafted every product we've ever have and given out of here. As you can see, there's a constituent called carvacrol. Carvacrol, once again, is that constituent that will not only affect other microbials, but it will break down the biofilm. Now, if you see carvacrol, rich oregano oil, but also thymol, rich thymine, red oil, inhibit biofilm formation. And once again, to do with E. coli. Now, I'm not going to read all the stuff there. I'll just give you the abstract, but let's go to the significant conclusion and significant impact of the study. Carvacrol-rich oregano oil and thymol-rich thymine red oil have high anti-biofilm and antivirulent activities against UTIs. Okay? Significance. In the wake of a rising antimicrobial resistance. Now, remember this. People are taking so many antibiotics, there's a rise of antimicrobial resistance. We envisage that carvacrol and thymol can be used to prevent biofilm formation of UPECs and to reduce its virulence. Okay, I want you to think about this. So it will reduce the effectiveness of E. coli that has overgrown, but also in the world of antibiotic-resistant microbes because it's given out like candy. And I'm not saying that you don't need antibiotics. I want to get very clear. I'm just saying they're giving out like candy, so they've even created antibiotic-resistant bacteria, but oregano oil still has an effect on it regardless. And that's the great thing about it. And that's why it's known as an antiviral, an antibacterial. The broad spectrum, it's actually kind of known as nature's antibiotic, okay? But also you saw in the research, time. Once again, it can be taken by capsule. I put it in food all the time. This is the wonderful thing. You can grow it. I have this in our garden, but you can even buy it as a spice, just like oregano. Now, once again, if you want to take it as more of a higher dose in certain milligrams, the spice won't work, the plant won't work. You want to concentrate just like we do with our oregano oil, and therefore you can take it encapsulated and actually have the massive benefit for it. And what this now does is it actually breaks down the biofilm within the bladder and allows now even the immune system, the oregano oil, and the effects it has on it in order to actually get the microbes under to a normal balance. And now you're looking at not only preventative, but also taking a situation to where now you can reduce the overload of E. coli and reduce the UTI. Now, those are just two things that are very effective. So I'll have people say, listen, I'm going to give you a very high dose, once again, of carvacrol in oregano oil and a concentrated form. I'm going to have you take it sometimes 3 to 4 times a day. I'm going to have you just get some time. But there's other things that can be done that have massive properties and benefits that can actually help not only reduce a UTI, but also being very preventative. Okay, if you look, here's something. And just to give you an idea, what I want you to understand is the monolaurate, lauric acid, okay? Now, once again, and I just put up the research so people actually know that I back everything I talk about with research on here, but the positive results suggest an alternative for public health problems related to infections associated with biofilms. So even this, even lauric acid, the laurate, so where does that come from? Well, the #1 source in the world is actually human breast milk, but also coconut oil, okay? Human breast milk has more lauric acid than anything that we in existence. But the second thing is actually coconut oil. That's why, if you notice, I have always been a huge component of 2 major non-meat things: coconut oil and apple cider vinegar, because of the constituents like lauric acid, monolaurin, or acetic acid, which is in apple cider vinegar. So therefore, once again, obviously most people don't have, availability of breast milk and stuff. So therefore, but that's why it's so important that when a child is actually growing from the ages of 0 to 2 or even longer, breast milk is very effective. That's why people say, breast milk has no benefits past 6 months. What world are you living in? What world are you living in? Pediatricians give extremely bad advice. Let me give you here. That's one thing I love being a chiropractor. Now, once again, I have to make this very clear. I actually posted my classes and stuff and certificates I take all over that way. And it's really funny just to share my education. And I did my certificates at Harvard Medical School and things like that, which once again, anybody can do. Just pay your tuition, get it done. You could do it. Anybody can do it that way. And people try to tear on that because they don't like the message. But let's argue the message. When you look at the message going, hey, listen, these things are very important. And so when pediatricians give medical advice, and they give really bad advice, that's why I tell people. People say, Doc, give me medical advice. No, most medical advice is very bad. It's extremely bad. It's why, if it's not so bad, then why are we so sick? But therefore, when pediatricians say, breast milk has no value after 6 months, what planet are you living on? Breast milk has so many different constituents. If you're looking at certain nutritional aspects, maybe that could be argued a little bit, but still they're kind of clueless. But if you look at breast milk, does anybody know that if you have pink eye, it doesn't matter if you're an adult or if you're a child, you understand breast milk has fantastic microbial aspects to actually help with pink eye? But wait, breast milk has no benefit past 6 months. See, you hear these catchphrases that they put out there, and that's not backed by science at all. It's not backed by research at all when they say breast milk has no benefit past 6 months and stuff. Now, once again, if they're trying to argue nutritional value, I can actually even argue that the things that are in there actually can have massive benefit for up to many years, even later, okay? We're just a culture that, has so been programmed for formula that the concept of breast milk to them is foreign. But the idea is this, breast milk has wonderful constituents, but some of it actually exists in coconut oil. So therefore, I want you to understand this. This can be applied, taken orally, or applied topically. So if you're a woman, this can be applied vaginally. It should be on a regular basis. Not only does the lauric acid help microbial, but also helps with bringing hydration to the tissues. So therefore, if you're in menopause and have vaginal dryness or have painful sex, coconut oil has massive benefits to it. It's really good at actually keeping bacteria normal. So a lot of you women say, hey doc, when I'm in menopause, I seem to get UTIs. Yes, because estrogen is very common to help produce wonderful microbials in the balance of lactobacillus. That's why if you ever look and say, well, doc, it says take a probiotic if you have a UTI. Well, that's only evident if you're low in lactobacillus, because lactobacillus can actually counteract some of the E. coli and have a little dance and keep each year. Because remember, the microbiome kind of keeps the dance and the balance together, and lactobacillus is the most common one. That's why you see a probiotic. If you take an acidophilus one, not really effective compared to lactobacillus, and lactobacillus has a very congruent effect and good mean to build within an estrogen-rich environment. That's why when women go through menopause, so if you experience UTIs post-menopause, or post-cyclic in menopause, I would encourage you to take a lactobacillus-based probiotic. Start eating certain fermented foods that dominate in lactobacillus, which is really easy. You can Google that on the internet. And you're going to see a less reoccurrence and prevention of certain UTIs, which is sometimes different than just E. coli causing it itself. So that's the connection between menopause and also UTIs. But understand, applying coconut oil and getting the lauric acid, getting the monolaurate, it can be taken orally and also be put on topically, vaginally. So therefore, and once again, people say, well, doc, can it happen if you have a urethra, infection for a man? Can you apply it on topically too? Absolutely, you can. It's just much more absorbable in the vaginal tissue than it is in the male genitalia that way. So therefore, it's much easier to actually have a positive effect. I'd encourage males more to orally take it than actually apply it topically. But it's actually, once again, you still get the constituents either way. I just encourage you, but that's why male and female actually are different when it comes to this. Now, the next remedy that I think is fantastic to do is you want to increase and drink about 2 liters of water with lemon, lime, and apple cider vinegar. You want to look at the lemon, once again, looking for vitamin C, the constituents with lime, and also the acidity that you get from apple cider vinegar, because the acidity does have a microbial balance. That's why I'm a big fan of apple cider vinegar, because it does create some more of an acid-based medium that way. The acetic acid has a massive benefit not only on the liver and insulin resistance, but also microbial. That's why I love apple cider vinegar. Now, once again, you want to dilute it. That's why you put lemon, lime, apple cider vinegar. So you see a little concoction I've made before. This, no joke. I've literally said, ladies, Jack up the lime, jack up the lemon, pour a little apple cider vinegar. Make sure you're drinking at least 2 liters of water per day during the process while you're doing this, because it's going to create the environment. It's going to create the environment for less chance of having all these microbial aspects of even E. coli or some other bacteria that can relate to UTIs. All right. The next thing that I love when it comes to remedies, when it comes to UTIs, is D-Mannose. D-Mannose, okay? D-Mannose is extremely important because what it does, it allows us to have things that are very important to it. Now, D-Mannose, once again, here we go. Let's take a look. It's a sugar that does not affect your blood sugar. Once again, let me say it again. It's a sugar that does not affect your blood sugar. You can get D-Mannose from cranberry, and that's why you see, well, doc, should I drink cranberry juice? Well, no, if anything, take cranberry pills, because cranberry juice, once again, they usually add sugar into it that way. I'm not a big fan of fruit juices, I really am not. I don't mind if you're trying to get some nutrients from fruit juice, but I would actually rather have you eat the whole fruit. And that's why if you take some dehydrated cranberry and put it into a pill form that way, which is kind of common, it's decent, because here's how it works. It's like Velcro. It attaches the E. coli and helps remove it from the urinary tract system. So I want you to think about that. It's almost like Velcro to E. coli, and once again, it attaches to it. So therefore, if you have D-Mannose with your water, lemon, and lime, and apple cider vinegar, plus you're taking the things to destroy the biofilm, it's going to attach right onto it. So therefore, I tell people, hey, listen, what I want you to do is I want you to start taking oregano oil in the time. And then what I want you to do is this. I'm going to have you take a massive amount of water through the day with lime, lemon, and apple cider vinegar, creating an acidic medium, kind of creating a more microbial balance. And then I'm going to introduce D-Mannose into the system, because I want to stick the Velcro within there to actually attach to the E. coli and run it out of the system. And you'd be surprised by doing that, what you're going to see from a microbial standpoint. And if you look at D-Mannose, once again, it's help maintain your tract health. Helps flush out unwanted organisms that contribute to infections. Well documented what this does. And if you look, the ingredients in here now has vitamin C, but it's based on the cranberry fruit extracts. And there's also xylitol. Once again, when I hand formulated all these things, xylitol has some wonderful antimicrobial properties. And that's why if you ever look, when it comes to teeth, you look at the mouth, look at certain things in the digestive tract that way. That's why sometimes when people eat xylitol, they have diarrhea. It's getting things out of the system. Body's like, I gotta flush this whole process out. So if you notice, it's not just take D-Mannose, because I'm gonna say, doc, I take D-Mannose and nothing happens. Well, D-Mannose has more of trying to affect the microbials, but the biofilm is still there. D-Mannose is not getting through the biofilm. That's why when you look at natural remedies, why some of them don't work, because they're not addressing the biofilm. Because doc, I take D-Mannose all the time and I seem to always have UTIs. Yes. Because the umbrella is up, and you could be pouring the rain on there, which could be D-Mannose, antibiotic, or anything that way, or even things like another remedy I'll show you in a second. But without destroying the biofilm, those bacteria are extremely protected. For example, H. pylori does the same thing within the stomach, and that's why if you ever look at it this way, H. pylori is the most common stomach infection there is, even though it's a normal flora. E. coli is a normal flora. There's a certain amount that you do have. It's mainly obviously in the intestinal tract. But there is a certain amount of E. coli you do have within the bladder. But once again, if you get immunocompromised, have all the problems, allow it to overgrow, there's a combination of infection and cross-contamination. You do have more chance of having an infection that way. That's why you see UTIs very common in immunocompromised people, because just microbes are not, keeping their own balance because the immune system is compromised. All right. The next remedy I absolutely love is adding dandelion root, because dandelion root is a natural diuretic. It just wants to get things as quickly as possible. That's why if you notice, there's liver function, there's diuretic properties. It combats free radicals, helps allergies and skin conditions, because there is an immunological effect by moving some of these things out and helping liver function, all that. So if you notice, I may say, okay, you have UTI. Let's start with, once again, oregano oil, destroy that biofilm. Let's actually take some time. Let's do your water, apple cider vinegar, lime, lemon. Now we're gonna do some wonderful job of actually trying to strip all that out. But then we gotta make sure that we're peeing out enough that way, getting that water out. Let's take a natural diuretic. Also, other natural diuretics people do not realize are even taking electrolyte powders. Because as you increase electrolytes, your body wants to cycle them, move them out, and that's a natural diuretic. And also, there's another diuretic that I think people should eat on a regular basis. It's called asparagus. Asparagus is a natural diuretic. That's why your urine stinks so much, all the sulfur. Sulfur components will cause you to want to urinate more. So I tell people, eat some asparagus, take some dandelion root, do these things, you want to flush out your system. See, there's wonderful constituents that exist in nature that your body responds to beautifully. And once again, it doesn't mean that it doesn't come without some symptomatology, because you just seem to be running to the bathroom all the time. Well, if you take a diuretic, I would want to do that too. But what it's going to do, it's going to create that microbial balance, and your chance of having UTI goes down dramatically by doing these steps in place. Now, I know a lot of you guys are saying this right now, which is a good thing. Man, it's kind of genius. It really is. Because understand the physiology, understand the microbial balance of the body that way, you need to work on these things synergistically. That's why a lot of people say, well, Doc, well, I did asparagus and I did this, I peed more, but I still get reoccurring infections. Go back to that biofilm. And that's one thing when you actually talk and look at the biofilm and look at the research I showed you, the fact that microbials create that biofilm to protect themselves. They don't want to die. They don't. Do you really think that your body wants to die? Do you really think the microbes want to die? Do you really think they would? No. But when they become an infection process and an overgrowth that way, there needs to be, once again, something that can move them out and change them and get them out of the system that way. And then when they're constantly giving antibiotics trying to kill it off, which I understand why what they're doing and what their thing is, but it doesn't do anything about the biofilm. But you can see that there are natural ingredients that can help and destroy that biofilm to allow even the antibiotics to be more effective. So therefore, if you even took an antibiotic, I'd want to do asparagus, I want to do dandelion root, I want to do all the water and stuff like that to actually flush that out, because I wouldn't want the antibiotic in my system for a long period of time. Okay? Next, Uva Ursi. Once again, there is a constituent. Let's talk about it. And Uva Ursi is also called bearberry. Do you know why? Because bears love this berry. It's quite crazy. The leaves of Uva Ursi are traditionally brewed in tea and used to improve urinary health. Current research suggests that Uva Ursi may be a useful treatment option for urinary tract infections, but there's insufficient evidence to support its use for other urinary issues like kidney stones or bladder damage. Uva Ursi has an antibacterial property because of its main ingredient, arbutin. Now come back to me for a second, Travis. See, if you think about it this way, what medications did was they took something that exists in nature and they chemically manipulated it, patented it because it doesn't exist in nature and you can't patent a natural thing, and try to enhance its activity. But see, I tell people is this, but there's major negative side effects that do come from it, even though there can be some benefits, because it's not meant to be that way. And if you look at when I sat in clinical practice, I sat back 28 years ago going, guess what happens? Nature has what we need. And it doesn't negate medical care. Once again, medical care, natural care. There's people that are all medical care on this side. There's people that are all natural care, and I'm kind of in the middle. I really am. I see the need for this. I see the need for this. That's why I created the fire department and carpenter aspects. I believe they're both needed. And that's why when you look at saying, Doc, why would you give this? There's always a constituent. There's always a bioactive ingredient that has a physiological, microbial, some effect in the body that I'm trying to get. So when people say, well, Doc, cameo's good for the GI. Okay, what constituent? And what are you trying to accomplish? Cameo's good for your GI. You know what? Can you say, that's why the natural world sometimes, they can't explain it. And I'm sitting there going, but there's individual constituents in it. And I like it in its whole food form because it needs, the arbutin needs all the other things within that Uva Ursi berry in order for it to work. That's why I'm even not a fan of isolated vitamins, because even vitamin C doesn't exist in nature by itself. It needs all the impermeable things, including vitamin P. What's vitamin P? People don't understand there's a vitamin P. It's sensitive for permeability, even how it gets into a cell. But let's go back to it. Let's take a look. Arbutin creates a metabolite called hydroxychloroquine. Wait, we'll leave that one there. Okay, glucuroid, where this metabolite is eliminated through its urine. It also prevents bacteria from adhering to tissue in the area. This is why Uva Ursi may be effective in alleviating UTIs. So once again, urinary tract health, helps bladder inflammation, helps digestive imbalances, cardiovascular support, topical wound healing. Once again, that constituent has a multiple effect on different organ systems, because the arbutin can be used not in the bladder, but it can be used cardiovascular. It can be used on the skin. See, that's one thing I love about nature. We're one with nature. We really are. There's things that we can take and do that are so effective that we just don't understand. And that's why every Saturday morning, we love getting on here and showing you and teaching you the constituents just like this. Just like there's the essential and non-essential proteins that we need on a regular basis. And so as we're showing you the plant-based one, the animal-based ones, trying to get what your body needs, and now people start getting sufficiency, and I'm getting wonderful emails from like Megan and other people because we're just giving what your body needs, and you can take control of your health and understand these things. And you can look at the research that I posted here and read it, which I encourage you to do. But I hope it makes sense, and I show you the analogies of like the two people standing underneath the umbrella when it comes to biofilm. See, so Saturday mornings, guys, are probably one of my most favorite things to do because it allows me to just become a teacher and give you information that you can now take control of your own health. See, and the cool thing is this. I'm not saying that medicine doesn't have some good things. I believe they do, but so do we. And they're different, and it's okay to be different. You know, just like men and women are different. It's good, we're not equal. Equal means the same. Medicine and us are not equal. We have both great things that we offer to the world. And that's what I want you guys to see. Now, if you remember, we do our last 10%, but now what we're gonna do, if you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, if you're on LinkedIn, if you're on TikTok and all the things right now, we're gonna go and do our giveaways right away. But as soon as our giveaways are gonna be done, and Aaron and Dr. Bryce and Dr. Luke's done talking, we're gonna move right into our last 10%. Our last 10% can only be seen on our subscription page. So if you go up to the top right and see TWA subscription, or on our page for free on thewellnessway.com/ADP, and you can go to ADP. So as soon as we shut off, we're not really off. It's our post show that we do, and we're going to talk about some other topics that usually get us kicked off of the media platforms. So therefore, our giveaways. Bryce, Aaron, Lucas, what do we got for today?
Awesome. Well, we've got people watching from all over the country as normal and in some interesting places this morning. So with my winners here on Facebook, first off, we have Martha Litton. Second, we have Jacqueline Askew, who is actually watching from the airport. So of course, I told her to crank up the volume to let everyone else hear. We have Toby Johnson, who's cleaning the car, so playing it in the background, so love that. You can kind of multitask while watching and learning. Then we have Rachel LaFleur, Rachel Keller, Laura North, Monica Lakas, and Colette Brooks. So make sure that all of you guys do send that email to giveaways@thewellnessway.com.
All right.
So Instagram, it has been a little bit of a rough time, but you've all hung in there with us. A lot of credit to Travis managing some of these things. But our winners are Amanda Brady, 27, Tiffany Lee, 93, Sandy Munn Davis, Hannah Leon M, Emily Quiz, S.J. Sugar Jones, Miss Faith Cruz, and Sean Y. NYG. Not sure how to say that last part. But you guys are winners. Please make sure you email over to giveaways@thewellnessway.com.
All right. As always, our ADP family is hopping here on the platform, and you're already set for that last 10%. So the winners we have there, so much engagement, so much. Everybody loved hearing about UTIs. Markel Berger, Eileen G, Jody Hill, Sherry W, Jess J, Kim Zabel, Sherry Fessenmayer, and Benita Anderson. Thank you all for joining us, for contributing to the conversation and keeping it rolling. So excited to see what's next.
Stay healthy, stay free, guys. We will see you next week. For the unedited, full-length, unapologetic content, go to our website to watch ADP shows. Hit that subscribe button and join our community for the most amazing content like this every day.